The core tenets of effective data management are knowing what data you have, where you're storing it, why you're collecting it, and for how long you need it. Shepherd helps companies know the what, where, when, and why of their data so that they can comply with legal requirements, uncover what data they hold is most valuable, and streamline data request workflows. Shepherd enables smooth data management through clearly defined workflows divided between three personas: business advocates, data authorities, and technicians. Each persona naturally encapsulates a set of actions based on expertise and expected workflows. Business advocates are responsible for requesting new data to be collected by the organization, describing how existing data is used, and justifying new applications for existing data. Data authorities hold the expertise and knowledge necessary to evaluate requests submitted by business advocates. Requests are evaluated in the context of relevant company policies, liability, regulatory requirements, and compliance considerations. Data authorities allow businesses to operate faster and with more confidence, knowing that their data usages are thoughtful and vetted. Technicians are located closest to databases in the organization and are responsible for mapping approved data attributes to back-end implementation fields. The first workflow we'll look at is the collection of new data. The business advocate will start the process of collecting that data through a collection request. Business advocates can be any number of individuals in your organization. In this case, our business advocate is a product developer, Devin, who wants to implement a new account creation feature which will require some amount of customer data to function. First, Devin gives the collection a name that provides appropriate context to the organization about what this collection is all about. Next, he will select where that data will be coming from using the customizable environment access dropdown. The work order field is used to associate the current collection with a third-party ticketing solution. In this example, the organization is using Jira. The description provides a brief overview summary for why the data in the collection request should be gathered and stored. Now, Devin simply lists the individual attributes he wants to be collected, along with descriptions of how they are going to be used. This may seem like a highly detailed process, and it is. There are multiple important reasons for this. Businesses are required to document why customer data is being collected and how it is being used. An obvious place to see this is in privacy policies or terms of service. Additionally, Shepherd is designed to provide your company with insight about how and why your data is being used. Though some of these actions Devin is taking at the collection request level may seem laborious, you will soon see how this upfront work creates tremendous value and makes subsequent actions much easier. When he's finished listing the data that he wants collected, Devin clicks Submit, and the lease request is now sent over to the data authority. The data authority, James, reviews the collection request on a field-by-field basis. Depending on the organization, different considerations like relevant regulations or company standards will be weighed at this stage. In addition to the ability to accept or reject requests, data authorities have the ability to suggest revisions to attribute names. In this case, James has determined that there are no issues with the request and approves it. Approval signals to the organization and the engineering team that it is now okay to begin technical implementation to store this data. Once approved, the collection request is forwarded to the technician. The end goal of the technician is to map these collection attributes to the technical definition of these fields. In order to map collection attributes, the technician needs to onboard a data source or data repository. Our technician, Christian, first selects the technology of the database that they want to onboard. In this case, we are going to select MySQL. The technician will name the repository and enter in any required connection information or work order references. Once we've completed this, we can now go scan the repository to discover any existing schemas within it. Once we've found the appropriate schema, the technician can now map the technical fields to the approved collection attributes. If you find a field that doesn't have a mapping, like a unique identifier or a foreign key, we mark that as internal. Marking the field as internal makes sure the system keeps track of it but doesn't allow it to be leased. For fields that are mappable, pressing Enter brings up our terminal window where you will see a searchable list of all approved collection attributes that haven't been mapped yet. Once all fields have been mapped, press Submit. Collection requests can also be used to onboard data that your organization already has. The workflow is essentially the same as for new data. We also provide power tools for faster legacy onboarding, along with guidance and expertise, to ensure all data is accounted for by Shepherd. Collections allow you to have a searchable and functional library of data. Now that it's been librarified, we'll show you how data can be checked out. Leases are the mechanism that Shepherd users utilize to request and grant access to data for specific uses. Different stakeholders in the organization will need data for different purposes. Marketers may need customer data to run campaigns. Product developers may need usage data in order to troubleshoot errors or develop new functionality. Leases capture the what and why of any data application. Let's start by creating a lease request that consists of the data that we onboarded in our earlier collection request. In this case, Devin is running a holiday marketing campaign for which we need customers' first names and email addresses. The workflow is intentionally very similar to a collection request. Devin names the lease to provide appropriate context to the organization about what this lease is all about. Environment access and work order information can be entered as in the collection workflow. Leases have the additional aspect of duration. As a matter of responsible data management, data access should not be granted on a perpetual basis. Durations of access should be appropriately matched to the objective of the lease. The summary field allows Devin to provide top-level context of what his objective is. In this case, the conduct of his proposed holiday marketing campaign. Devin then either types the name of the attributes that he wants to lease or selects them from the drop-down. Each attribute requires a justification for how that field is going to be used towards the stated purpose of the lease. Once this is submitted, the lease request is transferred over to the data authority. The data authority, James, reviews the lease request field by field and can accept or reject the request with the ability to add comments. Like with data collections, liability, legal disclosures, and compliance requirements are all taken under consideration by the data authority at this stage. In this case, James has evaluated the request to be appropriate and approves it. Let's switch personas back to Devin. We can now see our marketing campaign lease in the Approved tab. Clicking into that lease, we can see that there is a download icon in the bottom right corner. Clicking on that will perform an extraction from the data repositories tied to those leased fields, and will output one or more result sets to a downloadable CSV file. We've now completed the lease workflow process. An additional core feature of Shepherd is the audit log. Because all data is indexed and accounted for, all actions taken on that data are logged and made searchable. Not only does this satisfy compliance requirements, it makes it easy to surface valuable trends in how your organization is using data. See clearly if a particular data attribute hasn't been leased for a prolonged period of time. Conversely, identify data attributes that have a disproportionately high number of lease actions associated with them. This ability to determine data ROI and turn a cost center into a revenue center for your org is one of Shepherd's key differentiators. Thank you for taking the time to explore Shepherd. We look forward to hearing from you.